Do you have any updates on some of the injured guys like Xavier and Tony Adams?
I do not. Yeah, just us getting in so late. They're still assessing a few of the guys down there.
But Xavier did fly back with you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Jeff, did you meet with Hassan yet?
I did. Yeah, I had a brief meeting with him this morning. He's fired up, ready to get rolling with us. Got a few things from a physical standpoint that he's got to get assessed, but then he's going to be fully integrated in all we do.
What's that going to do for your defense? I mean, I know you guys thought he'd be a big part of everything before the season, so what's that going to do for you guys?
Just it's another real productive speed element from our rush package. So excited about adding him to the fold. As we all know, we're at our best when we rush 4, and he'll allow us to do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
What do you mean that he has to get assessed from a physical standpoint?
Just the standard physical that they have to do. They have to go through the normal stuff, and then say that again.
I'm sorry, Jeff. I cut you off.
It's okay.
Do you anticipate him playing on Sunday?
I think it's a little too early to say that. We got to see what it looks like. He's in great spirits. He says he's in great shape. Obviously, he's got to get out there and spend some time with us first for us to make that decision.
Jeff, I'm not sure if you watched film on the way back last night, but can you, going back to Aaron, what did you see out of him yesterday? Obviously, the second pick was certainly not his, on him, but you did say last night you felt he played well enough for you guys to win. Do you still see it that way, and why?
I think there's an element right now, because of the high character of our locker room and this team, that there's a bit of pressing a little bit to make things happen. And it's coming from the absolute best place on earth, guys wanting to do the best and provide the best for their teammates and this organization, this fan base. And we have all got to take a deep breath and just do our job, and collectively. And that's not that I'm referring to Aaron, but everybody on this team, including coaches.
As a quick follow to that, is there any element, I know maybe it's hard to measure, but there was so much talk about Aaron last year, and obviously he was hurt, and him coming back here healthy, a lot of hype, everybody knows what this guy's done in his career, where the sentiment was like, you get a good quarterback in here with the defense you guys have and the way you play next year, everything's going to be great. I wonder if there's any element of guys that have fallen back on that a little bit and just kind of maybe almost just assumed everything was going to be okay just because Aaron is up and healthy and playing.
Yeah, I think they're definitely it raises the level of expectation when you put an Aaron Rodgers into the fold and just all that he's done in this league, all he's capable of still doing. There's definitely an element of that. At the same time, like we addressed that this morning with the team, that need and want and to sometimes do more than I need to do, that can get in our way sometimes. So there's an element of getting back to the basics and just doing our job. And that's from an individual standpoint, that's from a collective standpoint as well.
So do you think Aaron is pressing?
I think that there's an element to a good portion of the guys in this locker room, but it's not pressing from the standpoint of from a selfish standpoint by any means. It's more just a byproduct of, I think there is a strong connection on this team, stronger than most that I've ever been around, and they just want to do right for each other. And I've got to do a better job of alleviating them of that pressure that they're putting on themselves.
Wouldn't you expect a player of his stature and accomplishment to overcome that, though? To be better than that?
I just think he's such an amazing human being and teammate, and he feels such a strong obligation to this team in the locker room that, that can get us all a little bit out of whack at times, myself included.
Jeff, how hard is it to balance that with the urgency that you obviously face with your record and the upcoming games here?
Yeah, it's definitely a balance. I've always said, trying too hard is just as dangerous as not trying hard enough. So it's finding that balance within that. We were very fortunate a couple years ago. I was just talking to the defense about it with Quan Alexander when he came here, and he really demonstrated to our players he had this element of him where he prepared his butt off, note taking, walkthroughs, practice, the whole thing, and he would just let it rip on Sundays and play so loose and free because he earned that right. We got to bring that back. We got to all start embracing that mindset. The expectation and the pressure we're putting on ourselves is becoming counterproductive. So we got to get back to who we are.
Getting back to Hassan for a second, Jeff, are you concerned at all? I mean, it was a highly unusual holdout, the fact that it lasted as long as it did. Are you worried at all about how the team will accept him into the locker room, basically because he didn't show up for 6 months?
I'm confident that this locker room is going to embrace him with open arms. I really am. They know what he provides us from a football standpoint, and in time they're going to get to know the human being who's as high a character person in this league as there is.
Jeff, was he in meetings with you guys today, like when you did defense meetings or anything like that? Was he with you guys?
Not yet. He's still finishing up the physical stuff.
How much can he help? Obviously, the run defense, you've talked about it. How much can he help that?
There's an element for sure that he can help with that. I think he'll be primarily a guy, like, as he starts to learn our defense and get integrated into what we do, he's probably going to be more of a pass rusher, but then in time, he's a guy that has absolutely the ability to play every down and help us in every way.
Jeff, one of the things that Aaron talked about last night, a couple times he mentioned how flat he found that the team was in warm-ups and then coming out of the second half. Did you sense that at all? And I guess, how worrisome is that? How alarming is it if you did?
I didn't feel it, to be honest with you, in pregame. I didn't, and I felt like we came out and played well early on. We played a better half of football in the first half, so I felt that was right. I think you might have felt a little bit of what I've been talking about as far as pressing too hard. But halftime, I would absolutely agree with them. There's an element of they got the last second score there, and although we were still winning, there was definitely a momentum shift, and that's something we have to improve. That can't be part of our MO. That can't be how we respond to adversity. Can't be. We had a long talk about that in the team meeting today about adversity and how we have the ability to respond the way we need to. After speaking to some guys, I think that's something that we're going to be greatly improved on going forward.
Take a couple more, Coach. A couple more.
Jeff, one of the narratives around the team now is that the Jets are a collection of recognizable names and not a true team yet. What's your take on that?
I would absolutely disagree. Whether you see that from the outside world or not, just speaking from the inside, the connection of this locker room and the teammates within this team as strong as I've ever been around. You take a guy, one of the most recognizable in Davante Adams, and shows up, whatever it was, 4 or 5 days ago now. And already here's a guy that's, after walkthrough, spending time with the practice squad receivers working on releases. Here's a guy that is obviously having a strong impact on Garrett on the sideline of this past game. You've got Aaron, who spends countless hours with everybody on both sides of the ball. And it goes on and on and on and on. I get the narrative. I get what you're saying, but speaking from the inside, that's absolutely not the truth, in my opinion.
Just with Mike Williams, I think he got like 18 or 19 snaps or something like that. Was that pretty much the role you had envisioned for him in this game? And is there a possibility that he could be traded?
I'm not going to go there with him. That was definitely the plan going in, and we'll consistently find roles for each one of these guys. The beauty of our receiving core right now is we have so many guys with unique skill sets, so it's very specialty driven as far as the plays and the way they're featured. So every week it's going to be a week-to-week thing from that standpoint to see how we can feature these guys best.
Are there no questions for Coach?
Jeff, how do you think Davante played yesterday after watching it?
I thought he played well. Absolutely. He had some, and obviously there's some things he'd want back, as there always will be. I think one of the favorite snaps of this game, though, was the interception that was thrown. And at the time of the interception, he was the farthest human being from that ball. And he ultimately is the one that tackled him at the 1 yard line. So what an amazing demonstration of how connected he already is to this locker room and what he's willing to do for him.